Do you ever have those experiences where you discover something and you think, oh yes, it is about time. This is fantastic stuff. You ever have those experiences? Well, I happened to have one of those experiences today when I was at my normie job, because I still have to work a normie job a couple of days a week. I'm not entirely sufficient on the website just yet, but I'm getting there. But I still have to work my normie job a couple of days a week. And so today I was there and there was a live stream, a live broadcast taking place. And the people who were doing the live stream have a pretty decent audience. And so they were talking about a topic where I thought to myself, this is fantastic news. What am I talking about? I'm talking about the Logos Roundtable. This is Jan Irvin of Gnostic Media, now known as Logos Media, I believe. Well, Jan and his friends were talking about the great big dinosaur hoax. And they have spoken about this briefly or tangentially in the past, but so far as I'm aware, this is the first time they have dedicated an entire episode to exposing the dinosaur hoax. And I think it's about time. It's about time that this topic was getting more exposure from people who can analyze it logically, which is exactly what they did in this call. You see, there are lots of people who talk about the dinosaur hoax, and even if they mean well, a lot of what they're putting out there is basically just word salad nonsense. It's conjecture, parroting what they've read or heard from somebody else, but no actual research. However, any person who does this methodically and logically and looks into the official story of dinosaurs will soon discover that dinosaurs are in fact a hoax. Period. End of story. And these guys go through exactly that in this 2-hour podcast. And it was terrific. But there was one thing that came up that I thought deserved a response, and that was when in the live chat, Jan Irvin suggested that I had done a hit piece on him a few months ago. Now, this is not the case. In fact, what happened was myself and some people on my website, we talked about Jan Irvin, Gnostic Media, the Trivium, thinking about thinking, how we go about doing research, all of these topics and more. And we have a different topic every week for our member Skype or member Discord calls, and we had planned this topic ahead a couple of months in advance. So I even invited Jan to join us on the show, and he replied in an email, fairly respectfully, saying that he wanted to know more. So I said, well, here's some of our previous calls that you might want to check out. Here's a previous call that we had with a different guest. You can see that we were very respectful. It wasn't a hit piece or a trap or anything like this. And he listened and he said, you know what, I don't want to come on your show. I'm afraid you're going to attack me. Because Jan Irvin has had a few interviews that didn't go very well, and I can completely understand how it is when you get invited onto a show and you feel like they've kind of tried to stitch you up, and you get to a point where you're like, I don't want to do these interviews. I'm afraid these people have nefarious agendas. So Jan didn't join us on the call, but we still spoke about Jan Irvin, Gnostic Media, the Trivium, all these kinds of things, and it was a terrific call. But it was only released to the members of my website. So what I'm going to do is make it available to you right now for free. I have set this one to be available for free members of johnthebond.com. So anyone who signs up for a free membership, doesn't cost a cent, all you need is an email address, will have access to this particular member Skype call. And it was one of the more popular calls that we did during the first season of the member Skype calls. As you can see, there are about 60 or 70 comments were left on that particular call, which is more than average by some amount, I should say. So I think you'll enjoy the call, and I think anyone who listens to this will see that this was far from a hit piece on Jan Irvin, far from it. In fact, you'll note that a number of people in the call spoke very positively of Jan Irvin's focus on the Trivium and the way that Jan Irvin promotes the Trivium. And in fact, you can see Mezzy there, who's one of the main contributors to the calls at johnthebond.com. She was so influenced by Jan Irvin and his promotion of the Trivium that she went and bought a book called The Trivium, The Liberal Arts of Logic, Grammar and Rhetoric by Sister Miriam Joseph. And she actually sent this to me. Mezzy sent me her copy of this book when she was finished with it, and she was inspired to purchase it by the work of Jan Irvin. So you can imagine some of the positive things that she had to say in the call. So go and check it out. You'll notice that it's not just a Jan Irvin love fest. We do look at his work objectively and we appraise it and we say, does he always apply the Trivium? For instance, when people speak about millions of deaths occurring in World War II, is that really supported by the grammar, by the information, by the evidence? Can we really say that millions and millions of people starved to death in the so-called Holodomor? We look at these kinds of things objectively. So again, it's not a Jan Irvin love fest. It's an objective appraisal, but it's definitely not a hit piece. And you can find that out for yourself if you go and check it out. Link in the info box below. Now, getting back to the dinosaurs, if you would like to hear a conversation between a few people where one of them is completely aware that dinosaurs are in fact a hoax, but the host of the show is open-minded but still a dinosaur believer, and two of the co-panelists are open-minded but potentially still dinosaur believers. If you think you would enjoy that kind of dynamic where it's not necessarily adversarial and it's not quite a debate, but it is, genuine sharing of ideas and challenging of ideas, if you think you'd enjoy that, I happened to take part in a live stream back in March of this year. I can't believe it. That's more than 6 months ago now. Wow, that's gone quick. Well, anyway, we had this show, and basically the host had seen me posting in the live stream of other people's live streams in the live chat, saying that dinosaurs are a hoax, and he basically challenged me to come onto his show and to present my arguments and evidence as to why dinosaurs are a hoax. So we did that, and it was a terrific show. I think you'll love it. This one, you don't even need to be a free member of johnlebon.com. This is a YouTube live stream, so I'll put a link to that in the info box below. And for people, especially for the host who seemed to be a dinosaur believer, in fact, he even showed us photos of his trip to a dinosaur museum. He, as part of his research before our call, he even went to his local dinosaur museum to come back and say, hey, JLB, how about this and how about that? So, and that's terrific, if you ask me. So they were well prepared, and it was a good conversation. After the first 10 minutes, because there was that whole usual, oh, we've heard that you're a Jesuit, and is it true that you're a Jesuit? I'm like, no, I'm not a Jesuit. And the person who is spreading this rumor that I'm a Jesuit, he's a drunk from Adelaide who spends his spare time spreading rumors about me. And why the hell are you bringing this up when we could be talking about fake dinosaurs? So that did happen at the start of the call, but apart from that, it was a terrific conversation. I'll put the link in the info box below. And if you're someone who has already realized that dinosaurs are in fact a hoax, I've got good news for you as well. You see, I have a dinosaur skeptic film coming out very shortly, and I've been working on it for some time. And one of the things I did was I went out to see the so-called dinosaurs with my own eyes, and I documented what I found. So there's a number of free videos here that I released shortly after doing the principal photography for this film last year, and these videos are all available for free. You can see what we got up to and what you have to look forward to with the final film. But it's important to point out that in Australia, at least, you can see these so-called fossils with your own eyes. They do actually let you do that. And the reason why it's important to understand this is because during the call, I got the impression that Jan Irvin and his friends might still be operating on the premise that this is not possible. Check this out.
They would be able to put all of our arguments to rest if they just showed the proof. Where's the originals that all the casts are supposedly made of? Show us. You got to meet the onus of proof for your own argument. Don't show us, plaster casts and fake nonsense and then pretend that you've provided us evidence. No, that's like providing second, third, fourth-hand citations.
And Jan Irvin's completely correct there. If they only show you the casts and not the original fossils, then this is a load of nonsense. Jan Irvin is completely correct about that. And in most cases, in almost all cases, at museums or any of these displays that you might see, you're not seeing the fossils. They don't even pretend that it's a fossil. They might kind of let you believe it's a fossil, but if you ask them, if the tour guide or whoever is taking you for the tour knows what they're talking about, they'll tell you, no, this is just a cast. The real ones are hidden somewhere. That is the case in most places, but not in Australia, at least not in Winton, which is the dinosaur capital of Australia, which is where we went to record this documentary. And so I share some of what I see with my eyes and that anyone can see with their eyes. The actual original holotype specimen, that's what they call it in science. The original fossil of the species is called the holotype specimen. I show you that in this video in particular, log or fossil, and I document it elsewhere as well. And of course that will form one of the centerpieces of the final film when it is released, which will be happening sooner rather than later. So I've tried to rush through this. Let's go through the main points. Firstly, good news, okay? The more that people, it's not that I want people to stop believing in dinosaurs, okay? If you're happy believing in dinosaurs, that's fine. But what I like to see is people who are willing to investigate the official story for themselves. I'm not interested in people who just believe in dinosaurs because the experts tell them. That's crap. I'm not interested in people who don't believe in dinosaurs because their favorite YouTubers don't believe in dinosaurs. That's crap. What I'm interested in is people like these guys going and looking at the official story and saying, hey, this is my problem with the official story. And that's what they do. So I'll put a link to Jan's call from today in the info box below. I'll put a link to this call that was previously just for members of johnlebon.com. It's now available to free members, won't cost you a cent. Link in the info box below to that. We talk about the Trivium, thinking about thinking, research methodology, what do we really know about war, these kinds of topics, all covered in that call. Link in the info box below. And the dinosaur chat that I had, again, this is not adversarial, but it's not people sitting around agreeing. It's a good challenge of each other's ideas. I'll link to that in the info box below. And I'll also put a link to Dino Skeptic where you can see a few of the videos that I've released from that principal photography for the film that is coming out soon. So that will do us for today on the 15th of October 2018. John the Bond signing off. And until next time, you guys take care of yourselves.